Earlier this year, me and a group of friends were hanging out and we wanted to check out this thing called Spider-Man: No Way Home. Now, I'd never heard of it before, but I was sure it wasn't the kind of thing that required any prerequisite in order to understand or enjoy. So, we went into this fine establishment and I purchased a large popcorn and a diet soda because I'm trying to watch my figure. I also got gummy worms, crispy M&Ms, and a vanilla ice cream. As we entered the dark room, the first thing that occurred to me is that there appeared to be a man trapped on the screen. I says to my friend, "Who is that man trapped up there on the screen?" My friend responds to me saying, "Why, that's Spider-Man, that is." I had never heard of this Spider-Man fellow. Right away, I was completely enthralled. Not by Spider-Man himself, but how large he and his companions were. They were like giants, sheer titans. How did they get so big? I wondered. Upon further research, I discovered that these big boys were in fact not giant, but instead they were regular-sized boys being projected onto a screen by what is called a movie projector. Now, if you are like me, you are probably wondering, what is a movie? Well, a movie is another word for film. Now, a film is defined as a story or event recorded by a camera as a set of moving images and shown in a cinema or on television. These are all very big words, so I imagine that you're very confused. Allow me to break down these complicated terminologies for you. A camera is a device for recording visual images in the form of photographs, film, or video signals. And a device is a thing made or adapted for a particular purpose, especially a piece of mechanical or electronic equipment. A thing is an object that one need not, cannot, or does not wish to give a specific name to. Or an alternative definition could be an inanimate material object as distinct from a living sentient being. An object is defined as a material thing that can be seen and touched. Now that we have the more complicated stuff out of the way, let's get back to these quote-unquote films. In the early 1900s, what would become films started off as a method of studying movement called chronophotography, leading to the first published example of photographically demonstrating the passage of time by placing multiple photographs taken in quick succession to illustrate movement. Of course, these were done for the purposes of research and were not yet considered a tool for portraying complex narratives. This would slowly develop into the silent era of motion pictures in the 1920s. Then later on, we got things like sound and color. But what is the best way to determine whether or not Spider-Man: Home Alone is a film? Well, Peter Parker is not a film. He is but a man. A regular-sized man, as we established earlier, and not the giant that I initially thought he was. Some of my friends tried to argue with me that Peter Parker was fictitious, but actually, it turns out, he is American. Well, in order for a thing or an object to qualify as a film, it needs to have sound, color, and moving pictures. Luckily, Spider-Man: Home Run ticks all three of these boxes, But we're not quite done there. 3 other aspects that make a film are narrative, cinematography, and something that the French like to call mise en scène. Mise en scène, as we all know, refers to everything that appears before the camera. Composition, sets, props, costumes, lighting. The mise en scène influences the believability of a film in the eyes of its viewers and can convey a certain atmosphere, a person's state of mind, or general symbolism. Symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. Spider-Man No Way Back Home is full of symbols, and that is why I can say without any hesitation that I am 99.8% sure that it is a film. But let me know what you guys think. If you disagree, I would like you to write a comment so that I can ignore it. Some people have argued that Spider-Man is a comic book? But I'd need to do more research on what a comic book even is. I believe it was one Roger McEbert that argued real movies should not be carbonated by CGI or 3D. They should be carefully created by artists from original recipes, i.e. screenplays. Each movie should be different. There should be no effort to force them into conformity with commercial formulas. Real movies involve intense involvement with their characters. They take us outside our personal box of time and space and invite us to empathize with those of other times, places, races, creeds, classes, and prospects. I believe that empathy is the most essential quality of civilization. I do not want to argue with Mr. McEbert, so I won't. So next time your friends take you into a dark room with large muscular boys, you should ask yourself, is this a movie I am experiencing right now? You may find yourself pleasantly surprised.